Hey, what is up, Bills Mafia? Welcome into another episode of the Buffalo Nerd. This is your home for Buffalo Bills football with a charity on top. If you're new to the show, thanks for finding us. You came on an incredible day. You couldn't have picked a better one, I don't think. If you're part of the Nerd Mafia already, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. You know, I love you guys, and I'm glad you're here again this week, because this week we are joined by somebody that probably doesn't really need an introduction, but I think most of you might know him as your fantasy analyst, favorite fantasy analyst, and he works at a little place called NFL Network. I'm joined by Mr. Adam Rank on this fine Sunday morning, the last Sunday morning before he's never going to get to sleep or do anything ever again. But Mr. Adam Rank, sir, welcome in. You want to introduce yourself a little bit if there happens to be somebody that doesn't know who you are?
Oh, no, I think the Bills fans know who I am. And I don't know where we got to this point in our relationship, because I always felt like I was somebody who was very good. I thought I was over in Buffalo is what I guess the best way to put that. And then apparently last year in my predictions piece, I'm going through, I'm like, 9 wins, which means there's usually some wiggle room to go up or down based on injuries or anything. And Bills fans, for whatever reason, they took offense to that. Like, how dare you? And it's funny because, I predicted the Browns. I probably shouldn't say this. I predicted the Browns to be very good this season, but because I didn't pick them to win the Super Bowl, Browns fans are actually, I might have misconstrued what they were saying, but it's one of those things. But it's like, I love the Buffalo fans. I'm a big Vic Carucci guy. I was one of the ones who helped convince Brian, the Blue Meanie, like, dude, you should make Bills-inspired Blue World Order shirts, because obviously you guys are big ECW fans and everything. So I always thought we were cool. And then you got our old quarterback, I'm a Bears fan. You got our old quarterback, Mitch Trubisky. You're like, we're not mad at Mitch. Like, whatever, we're rooting for him. Like, there's nothing. I love Josh Allen. I love Stephon Diggs. I love Stephon Diggs. He was I don't know if you know this. He used to be a Viking, and I couldn't enjoy him. I know you don't. But, I couldn't enjoy Stephon Diggs. But then when he left, you're like, okay, now I can really root for this player. And it's been exciting. So I like the Bills, okay? You guys are near and dear to my heart. So I'm rooting for you. You're one of those teams that, if the Bears probably not going to win this year. And if they don't, like the Bills, that's a team you look at and you're like, if my team doesn't win, if the Bills win, that's cool. Like, you don't want to see the Cowboys win. The Steelers have won a ton. You don't care about any of that. Like Bills, that'd be cool. Like Buffalo would be awesome. I love new era hats. I don't know. I don't know what else you guys want from me, but I'm trying to make amends here.
I love it, for starters, and we're a finicky group sometimes. I think is the easiest way to maybe not make us sound too crazy. But I think hopefully today we'll be able to change all of that. And I agree with you 100%. It's like one of those things. Like, I love Tom Brady now. I had to hate him for 20 years or plus, and now everything that comes out of his mouth is just it's brilliant, right? And he just the way that he loves the game is brilliant. So I completely understand what you're saying with Diggs. It's one of those things.
Did you hear what he was talking about when he was talking about defensive players and the targeting and everything like that? It was so nuanced and so smart. People, I know that people look at Tom Brady and sometimes they'll think of the teach well method, and he doesn't eat tomatoes or all that stuff. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot he's also a genius. Like that, this thing, it makes so much sense. What he was talking about. It really hit home. And I thought it was you're like, God, I don't know. I know it's tough for you because, like you said, you had to, this guy was in your division for 20 years. That sucks. That's not cool. You have to sit there and always deal with that. And you can't really appreciate him because he's beating your team. I get it. I guess I can commiserate because it's like Aaron Rodgers. Right. I don't. And people will ask me, they're like, why do you hate Aaron Rodgers or whatever? Because I'm a Bears fan. I don't know him personally. To me, and I've met Aaron once, and he was very nice to me. But to me, Aaron Rodgers is a character on a television show that I don't like. I hate Kylo Ren, but I don't really hate Adam Driver. And I think the same can be said with these football players. I don't really hate you. I don't mean you ill will. But it's I still, the character that you play on TV 17 Sundays now a year, where play more because they go to the playoffs. I don't like that character, and I'm going to root against him. So that's just me.
Absolutely. So I brought you on because I there's two things I really like about you. You've already hit on it quite a bit, is that you are a Bears fan and you do wear that on your sleeve. But as an NFL Network guy, you have to kind of give everybody a little bit of love and, kind of finesse your way. I know you're very good at that. But the other thing that I love about you is your real big picture. And the reason I bring that up is I'm listening to the Fantasy Footballers MVP show the other day, and obviously you were asked to be to bring in one of the MVPs. And your MVP was Trey Lance because in week 17, he's going to win you a championship, right?
Yeah.
So I want the guy that can give me all the knowledge and everything. Is like, I've got a good view of what I think is going to happen in Buffalo, right? I've done a breakdown of where I think we're going to land. I want to get your opinion on the Bills, kind of where you think they are as a team. And I think that's going to kind of let me know where you see the AFC, because I think it's a gauntlet of teams over there that could be very good. But before we dive too much into that, let's hit on ABC Hopes, because every week we do like to highlight a charity. And this week you chose ABC Hopes to be the charity that you wanted to highlight. So why don't you go ahead and just tell my audience why you chose them, maybe a little bit about them.
ABC Hopes stands for All Because Christoper Cares. And Christopher Moore comes from this family. I grew up in a place called Corona, California. To put it in context, it borders up to Anaheim, right next to the city where Disneyland is. And the Moore family is this amazing family. Every year, it's funny because every year they have this pig roast on Memorial Day. And like, if you don't get invited to this thing, then you're really not a member of the city of Corona. And Corona used to be a real small town. So it was a big thing. And they lived at what used to be like the outskirts of town. It might still be because there was like a big ranch there. But like, it was insane. It looked like pulling into, not New Era Stadium anymore, but is it still? I don't know. But like the streets surrounding their house was just crazy. But 25 years ago, they were kind of done having kids, and then surprise pregnancy, and Christopher was born, and Christopher has special needs, and it's his dad, Mike. The nicest thing he's ever said is that he once said that he's like, I always wanted a son that was never going to grow up, always going to be here for me. And then that's, what he's gotten with Christopher. And Christopher, through this organization, they raise money for tons of charities. Christopher, he is just this great kid. He's a great guy. Geez, he's in his 20s now, who I've known forever. It sucks because he is an Angels fan, so that's fine. But he roots for the Anaheim Ducks, and I'm a Kings guy, so that's always a sense of tension for us. But he loves fantasy football, and we text at least once or twice. What's up, buddy? Hey, bud. We text once or twice a day, except during the football season. Then it's just constant. And then he'll call me as well. What's up, buddy? Hey, buddy. We're filming something right here, pal. Okay. Yeah, do you want to say hi real quick? Okay, you can come say hi, goofball. There you are.
What's going on?
Yeah, where did Clay go? He disappeared. I know, bud. I'll come see you in a bit. Bye-bye, buddy. So that's our nice boy, by the way. Anyways, Christopher, though. Yeah, so I was going to pull out my phone, but it's over there. Dude, he plays fantasy. He makes about 100 ad drops per week. And he texts, hey, Carson Wentz, start or no? It's like, Christopher, no. Don't start him. Tua Tagovailoa, start or no. Josh Allen, yeah, Josh, there you go. You got him. And so I've been involved with them, doing some of helping them out with some fundraisers where I can. And it's a great family, and it's a great organization to be a part of. So I couldn't be more thrilled with the relationship. And it's fun too, because it keeps me connected to my hometown. And like Christopher's kind of like the de facto mayor. So it's awesome. And actually, if you go to Angel games, Duck games, or even Cal State Fullerton games, Christopher's always there, and he's always a presence at these games. So it's awesome, and it's great to be a part of.
Absolutely not. I mean, we'll have everything in the show notes for everybody to connect over there. Obviously, it's abchopes.com. Very cool organization. When I was checking it out, because, for me having a son with cerebral palsy, a lot of that stuff tends to be more limiting physically and not necessarily mentally, right? So this is cool that it's an organization that's covering kind of the other side of things, where it is more of mental, and they're helping them just kind of get engaged with other folks and, help them along. So it's got resources, there's ways to donate, all that kind of stuff over at the webpage, and we'll have all that stuff, so you guys can easily link over there. And it's cool because I like it. I knew I was going to get a personal story out of it, which is really cool. I think we tend to find that everybody that comes on, they relate to something that's close to their heart.
Yeah.
And, that's why I'm doing this. So, it's really cool to hear that from everybody else too. So thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's chat about the Buffalo Bills, because me personally, I do believe that they are going to be one of the top contenders. But like I mentioned, I think the AFC is stacked.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a good 5 or 6 teams I see that could actually be in the AFC Championship at this point, just by once we get into the playoffs, any given Sunday, true nature. So I kind of wanted to run things down. Do you agree with that kind of assessment?
Oh yeah. And the East is going to be very strong as well. And I'm thinking about it too. If you think about it, projecting, let's say 4 years from now, and you think about the quarterbacks who could be in this division, obviously Josh Allen being the number one guy, but Mac Jones, who's the new starter in New England, you got Tua, you got Zach Wilson, who I think a lot of Zach Wilson, and I think he could be really good this year too. So it's like, this is going to be an exciting time for the AFC East. It figures like once you guys come to prominence, everybody's now going to have their quarterback situation solved. Like we couldn't have another run of Mark Sanchez or some of these guys, or the Dolphins version of Ryan Tannehill or something like that. But nope, got to get all these young studs in there. So I feel bad for you about that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm okay with that, though. Actually, I said it a lot that winning the division last year was great. I mean, that's something you obviously want to do. If you're not in the playoffs, you don't have a chance to be the king, right? And the easiest ways to get there is you win your division. But it didn't feel as fun not knocking Brady out. Right. I think he didn't truly take it over from the king. Right. Like I kind of feel like he still owns it at this point, realistically. And so I'm cool with the division being really tough. And it was great when back in the years, 10 years ago, when it was actually competitive, that it was fun. It's good to be in a division where your division is prowess across the league, where everybody sees them as a good division and you don't want to face them. I want to be the best team coming out of that.
Yeah. And a couple of years ago, when the Bears won the NFC North, they clinched it with the win over Green Bay, and Khalil Mack sacked Aaron Rodgers with his back. The backside. It's still a screensaver on my monitor at work. Like it's like that's cool stuff. And it's even this year, like we obviously made fun of the Aaron Rodgers situation and everything that was going on there, but at the same time, be like, I would really like Justin Fields to go to Lambeau and just beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau. Like there was a Thanksgiving game a couple of years ago. It was the Sunday night or the Thursday night. It was the late game. And Jay Cutler went in there and we beat Green Bay. And it was amazing. Like that's what you want. Like, yeah, you want to go out there and beat these teams when they're at full strength so they don't have any excuses. And you go out there and you handle your business. And I think that's, where the Buffalo Bills are set up, because obviously, offensively, they're going to be one of the best teams in the league. I think that, not only with Josh Allen emerging as a quarterback who can throw the football, you got Stephon Diggs, but the guy that I really love, who nobody seems to talk about, is Gabe Davis. And everybody was talking about Chase Claypool, who had more touchdowns than he did than Gabe did. And I call him Gabe because we're friends. No, we're not. I don't know. But Claypool had 4 touchdowns in one game. Like he wasn't the dominant fixture that Gabe Davis was. Like Gabe Davis was consistently getting open in the end zone. As a matter of fact, he had more end zone targets last year than Devontae Adams. And I know that Devontae Adams missed 2 games, but it's pretty remarkable as a rookie. And so this year I keep, and I know this is more of a fantasy bent, but it's like, why are people ignoring that? Like, I understand the touchdowns can be volatile, but I look at Chase Claypool's as being more fluky than the guy who was targeted more in the end zone than Devontae Adams. And this is no disrespect to Dawson Knox, you guys don't have that tight end presence, that Rob Gronkowski type, even though you tried to sign him away. But Gabriel Davis can play that role. Like he's the big physical receiver that can catch the ball when you get near the goal line. Like, I love him this year, and I think that he might. I don't know. I know there's always an opportunity for regression, but I think he might be better overall, even if his touchdown numbers come back just a little bit.
No, I've been on board with that. I think part of the reason he's not getting some of that love is this coaching staff tends to roll with the veteran a little bit, and I think Emmanuel Sanders is going to get some play. Initially, how I was going into it, and then when we just did the 53-man cut, and Dawson Knox is the only surviving tight end on the roster, that tells me that we don't care about the tight end.
Not at all.
We're not really going to use the tight end. We're going to see 4 wide receiver sets, and if it is 4 wide receiver sets, I see Davis is out there, and he's a big body. If you can get him in that tight end role against a little cornerback or the safety, I think he's going to win for you a lot, especially with Diggs running clean routes, Sanders running clean routes, Beasley's running sick routes underneath. I'm excited to see if anybody can stop it because it feels like it should be unstoppable, but we'll see. So kind of kicking into that, they start out with a team that I've been kind of down on this year, but I think that's a long-term thing. I think playing them the first week, it's really up in the air, right? Because you don't necessarily know what they're going to try to do to you and what you're going to try to do to them. So I've got the Steelers matchup week 1. You view this as a Buffalo win? You think Pittsburgh has enough?
Yeah. This is a Buffalo win. I know that the one thing that I could see is that Pittsburgh starts out hot again and they try to, avenge what happened to them at the end of last season. But it's one of those things that they closed so poorly. And it's one thing if you close poorly, you still make the playoffs. You beat Cleveland, you move on, you lose in the divisional round. Okay, whatever. They got smoked in that opening round. It wasn't even close. I know that cosmetically it got a little bit closer towards the end. Pittsburgh got handled. And while I do believe that they're probably better off retooling their offensive line, you still got to wonder, how well that team is going to come together offensively, especially up front. They'll be great defensively. That's fine. But offensively, I'm still a little bit worried. And you have a retooled offensive line. You don't have a quality backup quarterback. Buffalo, I thought that, and I know why Buffalo went for Mitch Trubisky, because you don't have to change the playbook if something happens to Josh, because it's Mitch can do a lot of that stuff. I don't know what Pittsburgh was thinking. They're going to go with Mason Rudolph. And I know Roethlisberger always plays. There's only been one season recently where he missed a significant amount of time. He's always hurt, but he always plays. But still, with that questionable offensive line, Roethlisberger is the only remaining quarterback from his class now that Matt Schaub is retired, and Eli and Phillip Rivers. I don't know. It's sketchy to me. So for me, I think that's a really solid Buffalo victory. I'd be shocked if they didn't handle them somewhat handedly.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping. I have that kind of same set. When I was watching the early picks of Ben already having ice on both shoulders, both knees, and it was OTAs.
Yeah.
I'm and you're putting him behind a brand new offensive line. He better throw the ball within 1.3 seconds this year, or it could be bad for them. So I'm in agreement with that. Miami, I like Flores a lot. I think he's a really good football coach, and I think that Miami's only hang-up is Tua at this point. So I would see this as a Bills victory, but I'm giving Miami quite a bit of credit to where I think they're going to fall this season as an 11-win team. I think they're a good football team, but where do you rank on that one?
Yeah, I got the Bills winning that one for sure. Although, hold on. I wonder if I could pull up my Bills predictions. I should have thought ahead of this. I know you gave me notes, and I just ignored it. Just ran right through it. Oh, thanks for the notes. I'm going to pretend I didn't see any of this. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because there's a playoff predictor thing that I did.
Okay.
Yeah. I have the Bills at 14-3, spoiler alert. So I do have you.
Okay.
Yeah, I have you handling I know that going to Miami can be tough, but I think you guys have done well in Miami recently.
Yeah, they're doing well against them all the time right now, pretty much, but that's kind of been the thing.
Yeah, so that should be a good win for them.
This is the first interesting one for me, really, is the Washington football team matchup, because I think their defense is very stout. And, I do like Fitzpatrick in the offense, and I think that they can do some things this year. So for me, that would be kind of an interesting game. Playing them at home, I think, sways it in our favor still. And maybe Fitzpatrick keeps it close till the end.
Yeah, you know what? I got a Bills victory there as well. I do. Everything that you said is correct. I like the FT to win the East this season. Once again, repeating as champions. So I think that that's pretty. You know, I like that. And so again, it's going to be tough, but I don't know. Buffalo's a good team. Like I think it's okay. If this was on the road in DC, I don't think the home field advantage is that much. But yeah, I got the Bills winning this one. They should be able to take it. I like Fitzmagic, but let's not also pretend that he doesn't have some limitations. And that's not a knock on him. But like every time that they think he's going to be the starting quarterback, it's like, yeah. And then Heineke's going to be the starter at some point. So I'm going to go Bills.
So then I think we got Houston. I'd be stunned if we lost to Houston at this point, just with so much unknown, and you don't really know what they have there. But I can't imagine it's going to be anything close.
The only thing is looking ahead to the Chiefs
potentially, right?
But
we don't tend to do that often with McDermott, but that could be an easy scenario.
You don't do that, right?
Right.
Like I'm not. Yeah, that was because when I did the predictions, I went through and I'm like, oh, let me go back and look at potential trap games. But you're absolutely right. McDermott doesn't
really mess around with that.
He doesn't screw around. So I would.
But then it does come real tough back to back, right?
Yeah.
Kansas City, Tennessee.
Yeah, Kansas City. I have you losing at Kansas City. Back to back on the road. Like,
yep.
This is tough. I think if you guys split there, that's really nice for you. I think you have an opportunity to beat Tennessee. I have Tennessee at 11 wins. I think that's a pretty good football team. I think the Bills are better.
Yeah, I have Tennessee at 11 as well. I have them at 11-6. I do have Kansas City overall still winning at 14-3 and taking the AFC before they head into the playoffs. So then after the bye, Buffalo comes out, Miami, Jacksonville, New York Jets, Indianapolis Colts. I feel like that's a 4-game stretch where you could get some real serious momentum, and I have them all as victories.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that's a vital stretch right there where you have to come out of that with the momentum, because I do think New Orleans is still going to house a good football team down there, especially going down on Thanksgiving. I do think we can beat them, but then you do have that New Orleans, New England, Tampa Bay stretch.
Yeah.
That could be like a make or break towards the end of your season of where you're going to finish, I think. Where do you have that stretch fall?
You know what? I still like you to beat the Saints. I have the Saints at 7 wins this year. I like Jameis. The one thing, like obviously, with Drew Brees gone, everybody's like, oh, well, you're probably better off because his skills were starting to deteriorate a little bit. But the one thing that we really kind of overlooked is that the Saints lost a lot of their depth because of their salary cap situation. So they're going to be really stretched thin in a lot of areas. We're already seeing it at the wide receiver position with Michael Thomas waiting so long to get his ankle situated. Marquez Callaway looks fine, but let's be realistic. That's, they need some depth at receiver. They could use Emmanuel Sanders again. The defensive line is going to need some, they lost some key components for that too. So I really do believe that this should be a Bills victory. 10 days, then you get, or actually 11 days, because it's going to be a Monday nighter. Should be ready to go against the New England Patriots, a team that I think is going to be very good. Not very good, but I think they're about a 9-win team, 9-8 now. So I think that's a good one. And then in Week 14, I think you run into a little bit of trouble and lose to the defending Super Bowl champions, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I have that same kind of thing happening. I think that's the one. The other toss-up for me is the Tennessee game. I'm not going to be stunned if we don't come away with a victory in that game just because of the way it's set up. But I do have us winning 13 games, and I've got 4 losses in there somewheres. It just feels like that's a good number for us this year.
I think the Week 16 at New England is a losable game. Week 16 would be a loss. That's what I have down as a loss. So I think that the ones that stand out to me are Kansas City. I got 3. So Kansas City, Tampa Bay, New England. The Titans game could go either way.
Right.
Okay, so 13-4, still a really good mark. week 18 against the Jets. Well, you're at home, so I doubt they would lose at home. But at the same time, if the division has already been sewn up, and that's a Mitch Trubisky starts against the Jets, and the Jets are just, having fun, and Zach Wilson throws for 500 yards in a game that's somewhat meaningless, like that kind of stuff's not gonna shock me. So I don't know, but I also hate to make picks like that too much,
right?
Where you're like, oh, well, then this could happen, or something like that.
Well, especially with Mitch now, because he's capable of actually just like rolling the Jets probably at this point as well, even with some of the backups in there. I would almost feel like it would be a tough game, but the way he comes out and plays now, it is just completely different than having Barkley in there, like you touched on. So it's a lot more fun to now know that we have him as the backup, at least for a year. I'm cool with it.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he could end up like springboarding this to another gig. The one thing, though, I will say this, and I like Mitch, he's a good kid, is that he's still a one read and run guy, and which is fine as your backup. Like, yeah, okay, that's cool. Like, go out and win this. Like, go salvage this game, win your one start. And really, it comes down to, and this happened in 2018, is there was a hit laid on him by Harrison Smith that was dirty, and Viking fans don't think so. Like, that wasn't a dirty hit. I'm like, well, Harrison Smith was penalized and fined. So that's the definition of a dirty hit. So,
right.
But he got injured, and it really hurt his confidence. It really kept him from running a lot. We saw at the end of last year that when they got on a roll and ended up making the playoffs, it was because Mitch was just like, I got to play. I got to run the ball and do your thing. It's really not sustainable, but I think as a backup, it totally is. And I hope that, I know it sounds mean, but to me, like, being a backup quarterback is the best gig in the world, especially if you're backing up somebody like Josh Allen. You're like, yeah, dude, like, I never have to play. I never get hit in practice. I'm making a sick ton of cash. I was a former first round pick. Like, this is amazing. Like, I would want that to be my life. Like, if I could be Mitch, I could be like, I never have to play. I get to live in Buffalo, school city. Like, I'm solid. This is cool. This is my gig.
Right, and potentially be the starting quarterback wherever Brian Dable decides he's going to head coach at next year, potentially. So, real quick, since we both mentioned the AFC is pretty stacked, I actually have been stating for a few weeks now, I have a Bills versus Cleveland Browns showdown in the AFC Championship. What say you? What do you think happens in the AFC this year?
Yeah, it was good talking to you. I'm going to run. I don't want to give this one away because now this is where the Bills fans turn on me. I got Cleveland going. I picked Cleveland to go to the Super Bowl to play the 49ers. And
49ers, okay.
Here's the thing. Here's what I misconstrued because I forgot, like, because this Browns fans, like, I was like, trouble for the Browns. You can't have your victory parade, because the 49ers are going to beat you in the Super Bowl. And this Browns fan's like, dude, if we get to the Super Bowl, we're throwing a parade regardless, win or lose. I'm like, that's a good point. So I get it. I really like what the Browns are doing. And I think, the 49ers, everyone just kind of forgot how good that team was in 2019 once they became fully operational, or once they were fully operational, because when they were healthy, like, there was nobody outside of the Chiefs that were going to be able to stop them. And I think, the Packers got humiliated twice by that team. If that defense is ready, like, the Packers have no answers for it. And the Packers already have trouble on their offensive line. I think the Rams are pretty good. And obviously the Bucks. But the Bucks, if you get pressure on Tom Brady, you can rattle him. So I think it comes down in the NFC to the 49ers and the Buccaneers. Like, the 49ers end up taking them out. And then, like you, I think I did have a Bills-Browns AFC Championship game. If not, I had to. Yeah,
I think a Battle of Lake Erie just it seems fitting for an AFC Championship, like it was like old school, like 1960s football, and just hopefully it's nasty and just gross and whatever. But Before we get out of here, because I know we're running up against it, you got anything that you're doing? I've been watching all the videos. Everything you're putting out is hilarious. I love what you're doing right now with just about everything that's going on over there. But you got anything else you're working on?
With my,
you got the podcast. Yeah, I mean, you got all sorts of stuff going on. But you got anything you want to shout out?
the fire TikToks that I'm putting out there. That's right. I'm like a 13-year-old now, putting out TikToks. Like, what am I doing? Like,
It's hilarious though. It's funny. It's good material.
A 20-year-old intern teaching me this, and I'm like, "Hey, can I use this Beastie Boys song?" He's like, "Who are the Beastie Boys?" And I'm like, "I want to leave. I need to go."
Right. Just look them up and give me the song, please.
I was like, "Sabotage! Like, have you never seen a movie trailer? Like, it's in every third movie trailer. How would you not know this?" But yeah, if you just want to check out the Adam Rank podcast, it'll be more consistent now that the season starts, hopefully. And that's it. Just follow me on TikTok at Adam Rank. That's my new thing.
That's a new thing. And you're everywhere else, and I'm sure pretty much everybody listening already is probably already following you. There's like 500,000 on like pretty much everything you do or whatever. So, and obviously we can find you every weekend on the TV screen telling us what we should do in the mornings as we're leading up, to the game's kickoff. So thank you very much for coming in and hang out.
On Sunday mornings, I'll be on my YouTube page at around 11 Eastern, helping people get ready for their maybe 10 Eastern, but somewhere around there. So we'll bring that back this season because that was a lot of fun. Now that I'm not hosting the Sunday show, I have more time because I just need to show up now.
Excellent. Sounds great. So we'll make sure that we have a link to all that stuff in the show notes for you guys. Thanks to everybody for listening in this week. Make sure you go ahead and you go check out abchopes.com. Very cool organization over there. If you can donate, maybe you just know somebody that might need some of the information over there, shoot that to them as well. You guys can find me obviously over at thebuffalonerd.com for everything that I'm up to. And of course, go Bills.